Hello and welcome to Meanwhile Back on the Hobby Farm. Hey, before we begin this, please hit that subscribe button on the lower right of your screen. Just takes 1 second, click it, and this will continue. It won't interrupt this video. Hey, this is going to be the harvesting and the taking apart of the herbs right now. I'm going to they're dried. I'm going to put them in a jar for now, and overnight I'm going to start bagging them if my bags come in the mail like they're supposed to today. The reason why I'm showing you this tree is I love this tree. It's called a Hawaiian pine tree. I bought it from a box store, Myers, out here in West Michigan. Oh, I want to say 8 years ago. This thing was only about 3 feet tall when I got it, and I remember it was supposed to be $39.99, but there was a mix up. They had it displayed as $9.99. So best investment I ever had. Check this out though. Coming out to the pallet pub to start on my herbs, I noticed there was a flower, and I'm like, wait a second, this tree doesn't flower. And lo and behold, it looks like we have a pumpkin growing in there. Amazing where these pumpkins will show up. Okay, we're going to zoom in over here. We're going to get into the pallet pub. Welcome. It's a rainy day. We're finally getting a little bit of rain, and that's good. It's a kind of little steady mist, and we will take it. Okay, so what we're going to do is, it's going to be a two-part video because I haven't got to the expertise of splicing and splitting videos. So this is going to be the first part of two on taking the herbs down and breaking them apart and putting them in the jar. We're going to start right now with spearmint. And I'm going to go all the way down the line to the lemon balm, the catnip, the apple mint, the peppermint. Here's the peppermint here. So anyway, first thing first, I washed these jars out, dried them very well. I'm using the large jars. These are going to be jars that I'm going to keep for myself for the next year or so for self-use. Anything over 1 jar use, I'm going to actually start bagging, which there will be plenty, that's for sure. So what we're going to do is, we're going to set this camera up over here, and hopefully, I'm going to move this jar over so you can see better. And I think this might end up doing it right here. Hopefully, let me double check here. If I stand there, hopefully you'll see me. Hey, can't start any project without the tea. Apple mint with fresh blueberries from our garden. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to take down some of the herbs. We're going to take down some peppermint, spearmint. I put these up about, what, a week and a half ago? They are dry. I will take a jar. Notice I used leftover bale string to tie them up with. Why buy twine when you can get something, reuse, repurpose, whatever they call it? Cheryl Hightower, Drake Mass, classmate, gave me the word. It's called upcycling? Upcycling. Use something and use it again and again. So this is it, or make it better. So I'm using these. And yes, I'm so cheap, I'll probably use the same ties again. We'll untie this baby up. And only got about 10 minutes to show you this first part. Then I have to leave. We have to go, the farrier's coming to clip the horse's hoofs today. So Joanne and I are going to meet the farrier over at the horse stable. And we're going to take this apart here one of these days. Here we go. We got those apart. I use a cookie sheet to catch any droppings. You notice I use parchment paper. I don't like touching metal on anything. Not that it's not clean, I just don't like doing it, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around a little bit over here, and hopefully you're catching me in here. We're going to take this jar, make sure it's dry. I cleaned them up this morning. What you want to do with these herbs is you want to just drop them in there. Some people will take them, and they will go like this. You want to make sure that they are nice and dry. You don't want to put any moisture in there. Some people will break it up into little pieces and grind it all up. I don't do that. If you leave it whole, you're more likely to maintain the oils out of them. So what we'll do is, these are nice and dry. We're going to take each individual one, and as you can see, it's going to be a tedious job to do because there's a lot of plants, but that's what you do. It also helps you too, is if you see a little brown, something that maybe had started to go bad, throw it aside. Throw it on the floor. just like we learned on our other video before, Pollard's Peanut Factory. Just throw the shells on the floor. But anyway, throw the whole leaves in there, full like this. And I think I can zoom this up. I have to learn how to put two videos together. I know there's a way you can do it, but I'm an old goat. Which reminds me, we're going to do some talking, not about us. We're going to be doing some talking about my profession. As many as you know, I talk about it often. I have an overnight gig that I work for the county. I really don't do much. The kids are sleeping. It's at a youth facility. But I'm also a private investigator. Been a private investigator since 2006. Been on my own since 2008. I love it. So I received a call the other day from a gentleman, and he tried to use the age trick on me. Can you imagine that? An old man like me? So the guy calls me up and he says, I'm trying to find an old girlfriend of mine. Oh boy, the red lights went on. Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. So anyway, he asked me if I would, make sure this camera's still on here. I don't want to be doing all this for nothing. Oh yeah, it's on. There's my hand. Okay. So he asked me if I could find an old girlfriend because he wanted to get a hold of her and make amends with her and apologize for things that occurred in their relationship in the past. I said, absolutely. So I told him how much it was going to cost, and I also told him that once I find this lady, that by law, I'm under regulation, guidelines, and the law, I have to let her know that he's trying to find her. And his first response was, well, you know, I want to surprise her. Nah, I don't do surprises. That guy surprises her and turns around and hunts her down and kills her. Guess who's going to jail for manslaughter and accessory? Yours truly here. And you wouldn't be able to see my boring video tapes or listen to my off-the-wall puns and jokes, which they're getting worse with old age, my kids tell me, and my wife. But anyway, so I said, nope. I said, I have to, once I find her, I will email you or call you, text you, let you know that I've located her. And once I locate her, then I will inform her that so-and-so, that, you know, this gentleman's looking for you, and here's his name and telephone number to make contact. If you don't want to make the initial phone call, I can actually pass him on your phone number, but I need your permission first. And he said, oh, okay, how do I pay you? He says, do I send you a check in the mail? Nah, yours truly doesn't do checks anymore. I've been stiffed by the best of them. I said, you can go to my website, KenCote, KenCote.com. Hey, there's a plug for my business. Used to have a YouTube video on it. I don't anymore, but my website's up and active. I said, go there, and I said, there's going to be a comment box. Put in her name, your name, and then scroll down, and there'll be an area called the Payment Center. You can use a credit or debit card, and just go in there, put your name, her name, the amount that I gave him to do the background, you know, the location check for her. And I said, once I receive that, I will do the background check. Well, I'm not very computer literate, you know. I'm old. I'm 60 years old. He says, I'm really not on the computer at all. Well, I'm 60 years old, and guess what? I know the computer like the back of my hand. I know the computer like my herbs. So and plants. But anyway, so we're talking, and I said, well, unless you want to just mail me a check, I says, and I'm going to wait for it to clear. And I said, you know, that could take a week. No, I'll try the online thing. So before we hung up, I asked the gentleman, how did you locate me? Now, this is the real kicker, okay, folks? See, a private investigator, especially me, yours truly here, I can interrogate people, interview people without them even knowing it. I said, oh, hey, listen, I keep track of how people contact me, how they found me. I said, how did you find me? He said, oh, I was on the internet. I was Googling, and he says, a whole bunch of PIs came up, and your name came up, and you had a good rating, and he said, that's how I found you. Well, I found that kind of ironic because he just got done telling me a couple of breaths prior that he's not computer illiterate. He doesn't go online. He doesn't do the computer thing. Hold on one second. So anyway, I didn't call him out on it, but when we got off the phone, I was telling an associate of mine, I said, you know what, this is a typical scam artist. They're trying to locate somebody probably for this person probably is not in their life anymore because this person is not a very good person. The end of the story is I never heard from the guy. He never emailed me. I never got any contact through my website. He was just basically somebody up to no good. But anyway, what's it have to do with herbs? Well, some people should be drinking more tea and they should be taking herbs, and it'll relax them and not have to worry about trying to locate ex-girlfriends or wives or whatever it may be. But anyway, going back over here, as you can see, we've got one sprig done of the spearmint, and I've got 3 more left to do. I'm not going to bore you, and I know there's a way to fast forward this. I could do it, but this video would only be about a minute long if I did that. Some of these, they're pretty dry. I'm going to put a bigger fan in here because it took a little bit longer for this to dry. Yes, I'm using my fingers. I wash my hands very thoroughly. I don't like using gloves. Some people use latex gloves. I don't like using latex gloves because, believe it or not, people that are allergic to latex, even though they don't have direct contact with it, why do I want to put my fingers and herbs on latex gloves? I just don't like it. I do it the natural way. They're nice and clean. And as you can see, they're pretty well dry. They're good. I'm excited. Joanne ordered the bags for me the other day. They say it's going to be delivered, I don't know, UPS, FedEx, whatever, Amazon. It'll be in the mail today. So we're going to see how that works out. But as you can see, like I said, check this out. Look at that, huh? Isn't that nice? And this will stay good for a whole year. I mean, until next year when I harvest again. So this first jar I'm going to keep, and I'm probably going to end up with 2 jars. I know some people like to pack it down, and they like to cram the jar down. I don't like doing it for 2 reasons. Number one is it breaks it down, which you lose a lot of the oils from it. And the other reason being is, just in case there's a little bit of moisture content in this, you don't want to have it packed down, and you don't want these things to mold. It would be a crime to have these things mold. This is a bad one right here. So what I do is I leave it fluffed up like this. I mean, I'll dim it down a little bit, but I will leave it like this. And then when I'm done, I'm actually going to bring the jar in the house. And what I will do is I will put a small screen over the top of the jar so that there's still got air in there. And what I will do is, for the next couple of days, I will just kind of turn it over just in case there's that remote chance that there's a little bit of moisture content in there. You don't want to ruin it. Here's a bad one right here. Sometimes you can't tell what's bad and what isn't. The other day I was harvesting just a little bit for some tea that had dried a little bit. Some of it's called the chocolate mint. I'm not impressed with the chocolate mint. Doesn't have much flavor to it. And the chocolate mint, the leaves tend to just turn black or dark brown. And it's not very attractive. You want something that's very, that's appealing. So here we go. We almost got a full jar with 2 of these. So I will have another jar to be able to package some of these. And when we come back from with the farrier on the horses, I'm going to spend the next 2 or 3 hours in here, and I'm going to try to harvest as much as the other stuff as I can. And these are going to go in 2-inch food grade, FDA approved bags with the sticker on it, with the contents and the weight. Have to put the weight, have to put the address. Unlike the cottage, we'll talk about the cottage law in Michigan. You can sell certain items at a roadside stand without having a health department inspection of your kitchen. And an example, if you make jelly, you have to, on the label, it's very strict, you have to put a disclaimer that the kitchen that this was made in has not been a state approved kitchen or inspected. You have to put the ingredients, just like any other ingredients. You got to put the main ingredients, the most, number 1 item in there, which would probably be sugar or grapes, and then list it down there, pecan being the last one. And anyway, you got to put that disclaimer, and you got to put the weight in grams and ounces and grams and kilograms or what have you. It's the law. So that's what I'm going to do on these when these bags come in. I've already printed up the labels the other night during my overnight gig. I told you I utilize my time very wisely. I just don't waste too much of it. Keeps me alert, because when I'm watching YouTube videos and nothing to do, it tends to make me tired. So here we go, number 3 out of 5 on the spearmint, which I will have at least 1, maybe 2 more harvestings of these mints. So I will have plenty of mints this year to be able to sell and to keep and use and what have you. And anyway, going back to the labels there, so I will be labeling the 2-ounce packages, and then I was researching overnight these other bags that this other YouTuber uses. They're larger bags. They're probably about maybe 5 inches by maybe 10 inches, 11 inches, 10 inches maybe. And they're nice bags. They're paper bags, but they got a cellophane window on them. And what she does is, instead of spending the big bucks to have it nicely printed, she printed her own sticky labels, nice ones, with, you know, some decorative herbs on it, and sticks it on the back, and then puts her just what I call the disclaimer sticker, showing you how much it weighs in ounces and grams. And it looked really nice. So I think I'm going to do that as a larger one. But the smaller ones, I think I'm going to sell them for $2 a bag, $1.99 a bag for 2 ounce. Very reasonable. Go online, see what fresh herbs, freshly harvested herbs, what they're going to cost you, and usually $4 to $5. And I'm not going to sell online. However, if I do have enough requests for my friends out on the East Coast, I may end up doing one shipping, and then somebody can just stop by and pick it up if they want. So that may be an option. This is basically for tea. You really don't use mint too much in your ingredients or food. You want to make some mint juleps, they call them, for your drinks and stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't put the dry one in there. I would basically use these for teas. Or what I would do is, I wouldn't buy it this way. It would be too expensive, but I would sell it in a little bit of a bulk. Where basically one of the groups that I have would end up selling it. Is great if you have a camper. Put some in each one of the cupboards, underneath the bed, underneath the refrigerator, underneath the table. I have some on the floor here. It's a great repellent for mice, spiders, ants, mosquitoes, what have you. So I may end up selling a little bit in bulk for that purpose. And it may be the low quality, it may be the stuff that I throw away. It may be this stuff right here. It may be these twigs right here that have, maybe I have my chocolate mint. I'm not going to harvest that per se to sell, but I may end up using that just as a repellent. It'll be a little bit cheaper because it's not going to be tea grade. I mean, you could if you wanted to. We're going to put a little bit more in here. We're going to finish this one here, which means I'll probably have 3/4 of another jar going for the other one here. And gotta get going here in a few minutes. I've got to meet that farrier. Drop some on the floor. I'm not going to pick it up. The floor's not clean, so we just leave it there for the bug. It smells nice in here. I'll tell you, you can't beat the smell of mint. I'm telling you, this one's got some dried up ones on here that are kind of discolored. We'll throw those aside. And I may end up actually putting these in different bags and marking it as a repellent. And some of the other herbs that I will be harvesting this summer, medicinal herbs, I cannot make I have to put a disclaimer that I am not a physician, I'm not a licensed doctor, that I can't make any claims that it's going to prevent or get rid of headaches or help you on your menstrual cycle or help you for your nerves or your liver. I can say it's been known, but I have to put that disclaimer in that I am not a doctor. I can't tell you that it's a snake oil and it's going to help you with all your ailments. But I'm excited because last night I also was, I have it in my basket online. I have my, so check that out here, is the caplets. Joanne and I are going to be making our own caplets. It's called the caplet machine. And you put in 25, you can buy a larger one, but we'll put 25 caplets in there. And you put your herbs, that you turn into powder. powder, you put it back with a little squeegee, you fill them up, you put the top on there, you end up having your caplets. It ends up saving you a ton of money than going to, what's it called, GNC or the Vitamin Shop or what have you. It's a lot cheaper, and you know what you're getting. Yes, some people ask, well, how do you know what dosage you get? You don't. But you know what? You really can't overdose on herbs. There's another disclaimer on that, because you can on licorice root. If you have high blood pressure or on high blood pressure medicine, it's not good to have licorice root to be taking it, because it does actually elevate it. That's about it, and I'm going to let you go, and we will have part 2 coming up when I'm almost done to show you the final one. Thanks for stopping by. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you.